Everyone calls the Italian army the biggest joke of World War II. Nobody mentions that one of their tank destroyers could kill a Sherman when Germany's own guns couldn't. Tankettes and the first light tank. We have the Carro Veloce, better known as the L3/33 series. Built from a licensed British Carden Loyd design, it carried a crew of 2 6 to 12 millimeters of armor depending on the batch, and a single machine gun that was later upgraded to a twin mount. Over 2,000 were built between the L3/33 and L3/35 variants combined, which made it the single most common Italian armored vehicle at the outbreak of the war. It fought everywhere Italy did: Abyssinia, Spain, Greece, North Africa, the Eastern Front. It was also completely outclassed the moment it met anything larger than an armored car, which is most why the reverse gear joke exists. Some crews welded on captured anti-tank rifles just to give it a fighting chance. Next, we have the L6/40, Italy's answer to the fact that a machine gun tankette was not a real tank. Crew of 2, a 20mm autocannon, up to 40mm of armor on the front plate. Only a little over 400 were built, and by the time it reached the front in 1941, it was already outdated by contemporary standards. Its turret design would go on to have a longer career than the tank itself, since the same turret was reused on Italy's armored cars. The medium tanks. Let us continue with the M11/39, the vehicle that actually opened Italy's war. Only around 100 were built, and the design was already a compromise. The 37mm main gun was fixed in the hull instead of a turret, which meant the entire tank had to turn to aim. 2 machine guns sat in a turret above it instead. It fought in the opening moves of the North African campaign and was obsolete almost immediately. Moving on to the M13/40, the tank that actually carried Italy's armored divisions for most of the war. Crew of 4, a 47mm gun finally mounted in a proper turret, armor up to 42mm. Roughly 740 were produced. It could deal with early British cruiser tanks on equal terms, but it could not touch the heavier infantry tanks head-on, and by El Alamein it was well behind the curve. We have the M14/41 next, essentially the same hull with a stronger diesel engine and thicker armor plating on the turret. 744 were built, and it fought at El Alamein and through the Tunisian campaign. Improved reliability didn't fix the underlying problem. The gun and armor were still a generation behind what it was fighting. Next, we have the M15/42, the last Italian medium tank to see production. It swapped in a longer, harder-hitting 47mm gun and a petrol engine for more power. Only about 220 were completed before Italy's armistice, with a further batch finished under German control afterward. It was meant as a stopgap until the heavier P40 tank arrived. The P40 arrived too late to matter. Self-propelled guns and tank destroyers. Moving on to the Semovente L40-4732, built on the L640 chassis, with the turret removed and a 47mm gun bolted into an open-topped casement instead. Around 280 to 300 were built, starting in 1942. It was cheap, fast to produce, and already outgunned by the time it reached units in North Africa and Russia. We have the Semovente da 7518 next, arguably Italy's most effective armored vehicle of the war. Built on the M1340 and later M1441 chassis, it mounted a short-barreled 75mm howitzer with a 3-man crew. Around 222 were built. It was designed as mobile artillery support, but crews quickly discovered it could punch through the armor of American Grant and Sherman tanks when the standard Italian tank guns could not. Ammunition storage was cramped enough that dedicated ammunition carriers had to be built just to keep it supplied in the field. Let us continue with the Semovente da 9053, Italy's attempt at a heavy tank hunter in the spirit of the Hornice.
A crew of 4 operated a genuinely powerful 90mm gun capable of punching through 70mm of armor at over 2,000 meters with the right ammunition. Only 30 were built, and the open-topped fighting compartment left the crew exposed, but on paper it was the most dangerous gun Italy ever put on tracks. Next we have the Semovente da 75-25, developed late in the war on an M43 chassis with 70mm of frontal armor, the thickest of any Italian production vehicle. A derivative version, the Semovente da 75-46, swapped in a longer anti-tank gun on the same hull, though it was built in tiny numbers, barely a dozen, almost entirely under German control after the armistice. Both arrived too late to change anything. Armored cars. We have the Auto Blindo family next, Italy's wheeled reconnaissance vehicles. The AB-40 came first, armed with only 2 machine guns in a small turret, and after roughly 22 were built, the army decided it needed more firepower. That gave us the AB-41, which reused the L640's turret design, fitted with a 20mm autocannon. Somewhere around 500 to 600 were produced, making it the most common Italian armored car of the war, and by most assessments, one of the better designs of its type from any nation. It served in North Africa, the Balkans, Hungary, and the Eastern Front. The planned AB-43 upgraded the gun again to a 47mm anti-tank weapon, though Italy's surrender in September of 1943 arrived before it could reach production in any real numbers. Trucks and transport. Moving on to the vehicles that actually kept the tanks running, the trucks. The SPA Dovunque 35, whose name literally translates to go anywhere, was Italy's standard off-road cargo truck, built by a Fiat subsidiary and used to tow light artillery and haul troops across North Africa and the Eastern Front alike. The Lancia 3R was the heavier hauler of the pair, pressed into everything from general cargo duty to serving as the platform for a self-propelled 90mm gun mounted directly on its bed. And the Fiat 626 rounded out the fleet as one of the most widely produced standard cargo trucks in Italian service, common enough that some were even converted into improvised anti-aircraft platforms in the field.
Motorcycles. Next we have the Moto Guzzi Alk, the standard military motorcycle of the Italian army. Used for reconnaissance, dispatch riding, and escort duty, it became the most widely issued motorcycle in Italian service and saw use on every front Italy fought on. It is one of the few vehicles on this list that Moto Guzzi kept building well into the post-war years, which says something about how solid the basic design actually was. Artillery tractors and half-tracks. Let us continue with the Pavesi P4, and this is the one worth slowing down for because it might be the strangest vehicle on this entire list. It used a double articulated body with 4-wheel drive, designed so all 4 wheels stayed in contact with the ground no matter the terrain. It could climb a 75-degree slope. It was Italy's primary heavy artillery tractor through most of the interwar years and into the early part of the war, before being phased out in favor of more conventional tractors. Nobody else in the war built anything quite like it. We have the Breda 61 to close things out, a license-built copy of the German SD-KF7 half-track, produced under Wehrmacht technical cooperation and used to tow heavier artillery pieces than wheeled trucks could reliably manage. It was slower to arrive and never built in large numbers, but it filled a gap in Italy's artillery train that nothing else on this list could. That is the full range of what Italy actually built and fielded, from a 2-man tankette with a single machine gun to a tank destroyer that could outshoot half the Allied tank park in North Africa. The reputation the internet loves to repeat is not entirely fair. The equipment was often outdated the day it arrived. It was not, however, a joke.